Okay, well, it's Wednesday, which means that it is Submarine Wednesday. Okay. That's how it's spelled. Now, let's see. Hope that's not showing. There we go. Yeah, it's Subwed. Okay, Submarine Wednesday. And I'm going to be continuing my work on the engine rooms, the machine rooms. I should have said engine rooms. I should have looked at the instructions before I posted the little descriptor up there. I suppose I could change that, but I won't. Yeah, so today's been a day. Let's see, I knocked my coffee mug over again, but this time I only had the creamer in it. It wasn't full of coffee. So, and it was on the counter upstairs. It wasn't down here. So there was that. And then as I was setting up the work surface, I didn't knock over the little sprite that I was working on Monday. I came close twice, but I didn't. So that was good. I haven't dropped anything on the floor yet. So this is going to be kind of an average OO day. We'll see how this goes, right? So there's pieces of the machine room. And stuff that needs to get done. I guess this can come off the clip now. That part down here isn't painted, this little bit down here, but there's a deck that goes over it. And then this is going to end up being painted dark gray, either before or after I assemble it. I have to decide yet. So I did cement these two pieces in to the deck, okay, and put some filler in down here, and that can be sanded down now. And then once this is sanded down and flat, more or less, then the bottom gets painted dark gray. I was going to cement the two pieces in here. Okay, that's this bit here. Okay, this one goes here. I don't think it fits at the moment. I'm going to have to do some modifications to get it to fit. I think that goes in, but this tab doesn't go in because it broke off and I re-cemented it. So I'm not sure what I'll end up doing, probably increasing the size of the slot. And I was working on this and I made a mess of it. There are these dials, okay? And what I attempted to do was use a technique I've used before, which is to put some ink on the head of a nail that's been filed down, but it just got all over. And then when I attempted to touch it up, as I suspected, the ink dissolves into the paint, and so it's kind of a mess. So I've got a couple of options with this. See, there's ink down there too, because the little nail head that I used didn't work. So I got a bigger one, and all I did was spread it around. Is I can try to touch this up with the bone white paint. I tried to touch it up, and I got some of it before, but the ink, kind of oozed a little bit, and I could try again. And the problem with that is that the paint starts to build up, and then the surface isn't even. And that's already an issue here where there's kind of like lumps. So my options are to very carefully put little dots of paint on this thing to try to touch it up. Or the other option is to take the paint off. I can try to take the paint off by using like isopropyl alcohol. Okay. And repaint it. I'm not sure which. And so, so that's it. So this is kind of, I want this to look good because it's right up in front. It's right up in front, and kind of shows the white. I had done a nice job. The white dials were fine, but when I put the black ink on it, it went bad. It went bad. So I think what I'm going to try to do, I tested this. I have a little isopropyl alcohol in this. I'm going to try to see what happens if I brush it, whether I can get the black ink off or not. I took all the paint off. So I'm really torn about how to do this. Just gonna dab away at it here and see what happens. I mean, it's not really hurting it at this point because I can always repaint it. The black ink is just kind of smearing around. But if it's on the Q-tip, it's not on the painted surface, right? I don't think I'm hurting it. Play around with this a little bit. I know it's kind of boring as I'm attempting to try to fix this, but it doesn't look like there's anybody in chat to be bored. Okay. So if you're not being bored, well, that worked. Okay. I get a clean one because I've got a fair amount of the black ink came off. Like is maybe to have less cotton on it. Make it smaller like this. Yeah, so just, I get this a little bit and see if I can't clean it up enough to be presentable. If it is, then I can cement those in and then fill them in on the bottom like I did with the other one and get that painted. So the main things to be done are to get this so it's presentable. Okay. Sand the bottom of this down and paint it. Cement these pieces into here and then do the same thing. Put filler in, wait for it to harden. Can't do that today. And paint it. I need to do the ladder inside of here with a little pen, right? And this one, there's a pipe that goes from this hole to there. One of these pipes does that. I'm going to find that pipe, cement it in, and paint it. I've got like 2 coats on here. It needs more. black ink is coming on. Some of the other paint is staying on in a way that's not bad. But it's getting to where I can probably do touch-up on it. Make it look okay. In fact, this is coming out okay. I just need to do, I'm going to need to do some of this beige paint touch-up. But the dials actually look all right. Okay, so I think I'm salvaging this thing. Yeah, I need to let this dry, you know, and then I'm going to do a little touch up with the beige paint. Like down here, it came off. Little spots on it. So it's coming out okay. I think what I was doing with it definitely did not make it worse. Okay, so I'm going to call that a success, at least at this point. Oh, this was out. This is some of the sprue. I used this to test to make sure that the alcohol didn't dissolve the plastic, so that's just junk. All right. What should I do next? There's so many little things. I think I'm going to try to get this to fit. Okay. Like I said, when I first tested this piece, this tab here in this slot, it was too big. I forced it in and it just broke off. And so I cemented it back on. But now, you know, I don't want to file that because it'll come off probably. Well, maybe. I don't know. Let me try it. File it from the inside. If it comes off again, it's not a disaster because it's going to be cemented onto the deck anyway. Okay. And I can always put a little bit of cement on the bottom of this. It'd be nice to have the tab though. So I'm going to try to gently, see what happened was, anyway, the tab is too big in this direction. So I'm going to just keep filing away at it very gently. This is fairly soft plastic. It comes off, with gentle filing. Maybe. We'll find out. And if I can get this to fit, that would be good. And then I can touch up the other one in a little bit with the beige paint. And then I'm probably going to sand this down before I put the pipe on because that's going to be a little fragile. So you're going to watch me filing and sanding here on the machine room. And then the really difficult thing, okay, the difficult thing is this dark, this kind of brownish color, pork brown it's called, needs to go on these decks. And I have to paint it all around, all these little bits, these pipes and fixtures and stuff that are on these decks, especially this one. So I've been kind of avoiding that because, anyway, it's going to be a test. It's going to be a challenge to my hand steadiness, which is not the best thing in the world. It's to say, my hand isn't the steadiest thing in the world. Anyway, it has to be done. And if it means going back and forth, with the two different colors of paint, In order to get clean lines, that's the way it'll be. Okay, I'm sorry, I have an important phone call I need to take. I will be back in just a couple minutes. We back? Okay. Looks like it. There we go. Everything's working, kind of. All right. Yeah, I just had a phone call I was waiting for that could have come anytime today. But since I stream a big chunk of the day, probably, it was expected. Music's working. Well, the way things are going today, anything that's working is kind of a surprise, so I'm going to be expressing surprise throughout the day when I'm not going, oh. Because what are the odds of getting through this very much further without an oh? Probably pretty small. So I'm filing this down, this tab, which had broken off and been re-glued. And I'm doing that so that it fits in the slot. Okay. And when I get to that point, then I'm going to sand to the bottom of this, because I got the filler in here, and get this nice and flat. And then I'm going to put the pipe on after I find out which one it is, and cut it off and hopefully not break it or anything, and cement that on. And once that's set, I will be able to finish painting it. This is, I have a base coat on, but it needs an additional coat, and I didn't want to do that until it was in place, just because. Let's see if I'm making any progress here at all. Whatever. Let's see. No, it goes in more than it did before. Looks like maybe the sides need to be trimmed down a little bit too. Usually those do need filing, even if they aren't broken off and replaced, because of just the way the molding works. The edges of the molding tend to be larger. They kind of flare out a little bit. I think I've mentioned like 7,000 times already that the manufacturing process on this, the injection molding process, was not very good. So there are a lot of flaws in the molding, and a lot of pieces that needed to be. I keep rotating these things in a way that is not helpful. Okay, so that fits now. Okay, that fits actually quite nicely. When I put the cement on, I'm going to put it on from the bottom, and the intent is if I put it in from the bottom, then it doesn't mess up the paint on the top. When I did that with the other one, I put it in on the bottom. I had to set it down, right? You have to set it down. I, of course, flipped that over, and the cement got all over everything anyway. What I'll probably do with this is just hold it in place for longer than I would like to hold it. So you get to watch me just hold this after the cement is on. Yeah, because that's just the way it's going to be. So that is there. That actually worked. Piece of sandpaper. Oh, I probably should get a good piece of sandpaper, but I'm not going to. So I'm just going to do this. Okay? This is a fairly flat surface, and I want it to stay flat. So I'm just going to do this for a while, and hopefully it will sand down the high points and even out, make it all nice and even and flat, and you know. And at least it's getting rid of the sticky tack. I had this sitting, both of these were sitting on the sticky tack holder, and it was like over the holidays, and they sat there for over a week, and then the sticky tack, I don't know, some oils or something came out of it and got onto the plastic, and that was messy. So you know what I'm going to do, since the last time I did this with these two pieces, I did them both at the same time, and this one stayed nicely and this one didn't, is I'm actually going to cement that in after I'm done sanding this. And then this other piece here that needs touching up, that will be, yeah, keep the work surface clean by getting sanding dust all over it. I'm continuing this is a not how to do things show aspect of relaxing painting with base and dungeons. I mean, sanding things, well, I'm just sanding things. How can that get messed up, right? But I'm getting sanding dust all over my work surface here. So if I try to, do something that should require something to be clean, this isn't it. And it's fun. Round and round, back and forth. Getting close. I can still feel it a little bit. Raised surface. I'm taking the primer off, but that doesn't matter on the bottom of the deck, really. I knew that to begin with. That was part of the plan. And it's getting pretty close to being okay. Now after I'm done with this, I'm going to use some really fine-grained emery cloth to kind of polish it. I think that's a little surprising, actually. I mean, it is kind of surprising. I shouldn't speak too soon. Never mind. I won't tell you what's surprising until actually I get past the point where it doesn't have to be surprising anymore. So this stuff here is like 1600 grit emery cloth, and it polishes it. Which is a good thing. Okay, now I'm going to wipe it off with this. It turned out okay. See, the reason I do that is when this gets put into the hull, it goes in like this and you see it from the side, is you can actually see the bottom. And it just looks not good if there's holes in it. So there's going to be a little irregularities. This is a little raised up, but at least it won't have these like this. You can see the openings on it. So the surprising thing, and I still might be speaking too soon, is that I didn't get the gray sanding dust all over the top of that. Not all over it, just in parts of it. I did get it in parts of it. So let me see if I can wipe it off. tempted to paint the bottom now before I put the pipe on. I think I might do that. And while I'm doing that, I might paint the bottom of this the dark gray as well. This is the deck that goes there. And I think it sets... I don't know if it sets underneath this green thing. Looks like it goes under it. Yeah, it looks like it goes under this little green tab. Because that's the that's the bit that drives the propeller, and it's supposed to go through the center of that, I guess. If it goes up here, then it's not centered and the deck above doesn't work, so it goes here. So what I'm going to do when I get the dark gray out is I'm going to put just a little bit down here, because when this is in the hull, that will be really hard to reach. And I'm planning to paint the dark gray inside the hull after this is installed. I'm going to paint the bottoms of the decks, but that's going to be a really hard corner. I don't want a little spot of bright green showing unnecessarily. Well, whatever. But first, let's do a dangerous thing. We're going to do some model cement application here. This is dangerous for a couple of reasons. I mean, dangerous only in the sense of a major oh event. Is that I could get cement all over, but the thing that could really happen, which would be very bad, would be if I knocked this jar over. I haven't done that yet. This is liquid cement. A little too much is going on, but because this brush is not as tiny as I would like it, but hopefully it does. If you apply it to an opening like that through capillary action, it will be pulled into where it needs to be. And hopefully it's capillating right now. I'm going to hold this for a little bit before I turn it over and set it down, because the last time I did this, like I said, I just tilted it and there was too much cement and it spread around, and I was extremely lucky, actually, that it didn't make a huge mess. It's actually making a little bit of a mess. Brown paint, yeah, a little too much cement maybe. It's kind of creeping up on the side of that piece of equipment, but I'm just not going to play with it anymore. Yeah, I think I can put the pipe in place before I paint the bottom of this. I have to find out which one it is. It's the one that goes from here to here. So it's number 86. The reason I left these all on here, I mean, they're different shapes, but you can't really tell from the picture, like, what's the difference between 80 and 81, really? You can't really tell that much. They look like they're just kind of flipped around, although when they're on here, they're quite a bit different. So I left them on the tree, the sprue tree, sprue, so that I could find the right ones. Course, not being able to see very well. This is 86 here. So this pipe goes from here to there. I just need to take it off, not lose it by having it like fly across the room. I need to file down. Really kind of ticked at how these were made. If they had injected molded these so that where they attach to the sprue, okay, like that, was on the end, you could easily cut them off and file it down, okay? But no, it's in the middle of the pipe. All of them are right in the middle of the pipes, which means that it's an obvious flaw that needs to be filed and sanded. Otherwise, all of them will look like they've got blemishes, which they do. Okay, I'm trying to cut it off. I want to cut it off in like that. That went okay. I wanted to leave a little plastic on there because otherwise, if it broke off, if I just twisted it off, I'd probably end up with a divot in the pipe, and filling in a little divot in the little pipe like that is a pain. Filing this down so it's even is not so bad, not so much of a problem. I need to use less cement on these things. Even though the cement was way in the back, the capillary action worked. It pulled up and over. Nice, huh? Okay, so this little lump, this little point there where it attached, see it? That's where it attached to the sprue. It just needs to be filed off so that the pipe itself doesn't have any mold marks. Once that's down, and I find that actually I'm filing off the paint too. Well, I need to put like 2 or 3 coats of paint on this after it's cemented on, is feeling it. Can't feel it anymore, then it's okay. All right. Well, that was more exciting filing. Now, see if I can actually fit this. I'm not cementing it yet. I want to see if it fits. This part goes in this hole, which it does. And then it's not a round thing, because you wouldn't be able to get it in otherwise, right? So it goes in the back of this to make it look like it has gone into a fitting. Well, it doesn't fit too badly. This end of it, I'm going to take off. Okay, I set the file down somewhere, didn't I? There. Just on the very, very end of it, I'm going to take off the paint because it isn't fitting into the fitting quite as neatly as it should. I'm just going to keep fiddling with this until I'm kind of satisfied with the way it looks. And then when I cement this in, since it's going into a hole, it drops down a little too far. Okay, that fits okay. Now I'm going to try to cement this in without getting cement on everything. I'm going to try to apply the cement with a tip of a toothpick, and sometimes this works And sometimes it doesn't. Find out which way it goes this time, right? We'll find out which of the sometimes this will be. The brush that came with it is just way too big. Way too big for this to work. Bit on the tip of this. Then, hope I don't spill it. Maybe. To get this in place and have it actually hold. Push this in, that, and then the issue here, get it clean too thick, is this needs to raise up just a little bit here. Needs to come up so that the pipe is you're not getting a happy medium here. Okay, that, just looking at it by eye, that looks about right. This needs to go back. Came out. This part's more important than the other part there. That needs to stay there. There, and this pipe needs to come up the tiniest little bit. I don't know why. Why I can't get both at the same time. Well, this fitting here, I think it's getting better. This fitting here is more important than the other one. It really needs to be in there. And it's not being. Right. So you can see there's like a little gap down there and a little gap up here. Those gaps, that's why I'm going to paint it later. So those gaps end up getting filled. and them getting filled with paint. Okay, the pipe, that's how the pipe wants to be, so that's how the pipe is going to be. Okay, it just is going to be like that. Yep, yeah, it's not working. I need to put cement on here again. Need to try this again. Came close, came really close to working, but then it didn't. At least I haven't messed it up yet. These little pieces are just difficult, and you can imagine what it used to be like when this was tube cement, and you had these little tube spider webs going everywhere. That to hold there, and I'm going to hold that in place for a bit because it doesn't really want to stay the way I want it. So I'm going to hold that in place. The pipe actually looks good, so you get to watch me hold something in place for several minutes while the cement sets. If you read old instructions of kits, that's one of the things you find. Hold the part firmly in place for 2 minutes, or time like that, that kind of time. So, this is where, it's really good that the music is playing. Otherwise, I'd have to like hum a tune or, do spoken word version of some sort of old, theme song for a TV show. On Monday, it was Mr. Ed. Had a really nice conversation about airplanes in the 50s and 60s, because one of the people in chat lived near a SAC base, Strategic Air Command base, and got to see B-52s and B-58s fly, and it was really, it was kind of fun talking about that. But he had to leave after break, and so I had to fill the time by chatting about something stupid, and so I chatted about Mr. Ed. And pretty much what I just did was complained about the rhyming for the first verse of the theme song, which consisted of repeating horse and course, which I won't do now, but I might, depending on, So I stopped counting, so I'll hold this for another like 45 seconds. This is pipe number 86. The installation of the first pipe, there are 6 pipes, and this is the first one. Pipe number 82 comes directly out of the reactor room and brings the superheated steam into the engine rooms. And I'm thinking I might paint that one red, just so that everyone knows what it is. I want to say there's 15 seconds left, whether there is or isn't. Hunched over here because I have to brace my hand against the work surface and the other hand, and yeah, as I'm holding it steady, according to the directions, hold firmly in place for 2 minutes. Okay, it didn't move. That's good. The pipe is pretty vertical. I'm not going to mess with it. From the front, it looks okay. It's a little bit down. It technically this end should be higher so that the pipe was horizontal, but I can't get it to do that. When I do that, then it pulls away up here, and then that leaves a gap that I don't. So this is going to set for a bit, and then I will paint that with this beige color, which will fill in the gaps and cover it. And when I get the beige color out, also be touching up this thing, which I untouched through my effort to fix it. And so far it's going to be okay, maybe. Let's see. Yeah. I'm just waiting for cement to dry here. I could paint the bottom of this, but then that might disturb that. Go in on that. Oh my, what should I do next? What I probably should do next is I should probably, while it's still the first half of the stream, you know, my blood sugar hasn't crashed, and I haven't gotten chilled yet because it's chilly down here. Really weird. You actually want this to be on top of there. I'm just looking at the instructions here, and they want this deck. See that little tab there? They want it to be on top of that tab. But it's not. It doesn't go there. I don't know what they're thinking. Okay. I mean, it gets in the way of the deck above it if you do that. This needs to be centered, and this deck needs to be the same. I mean, it's way short. It goes underneath. But they're showing that you're supposed to put the cement on the top. I mean, it obviously goes here. Wow. Okay. That's really baffling how they've designed, the instructions. The instructions oftentimes are, anyway, the instructions are better than the molding, than the, injection molding, which is not well done. And I'm just looking at this, and it's just wrong. I hope anyway, otherwise they're going to have to do some major modifications to parts in order to get them to fit. What's going on here? Okay, this deck was really nicely painted, and now are there like chips in it? Those weren't there before. It didn't happen while I put that in. That's really weird. It's very annoying too. I mean, it's not like I can't paint them, but it's like, how did that happen? Okay, well, those obviously need to be repaired. Do that when I get the paint out for the rest of this. Yeah, well, let me get the tiny... Let's see if I can do this without making a disaster. Little micron pen here. We're making little black spots on things. In this case, it's not spots as much as it's lines. I'm going to be... That's weird. Is the internet not working? Is this thing not streaming? It says it's live online, but then I've got this circle that says, I didn't notice that before, because it's not on this monitor where I'm looking. It's over here. It says connecting to chat, like it has not been connected. So if anybody is attempting to chat, it doesn't seem to be working. Okay, I'm going to do a little... Okay. I might need to do this. I'm going to turn this off, do this on the fly. Sometimes I can get things to work, sometimes not. But I'm going to shut this down. And then restart it. We're going connecting to chat. Disconnected from the server. I was never connected. It was connecting and said it was connected, and then disconnected, and now I'm disconnected. And we had trouble with the internet earlier today. I am not sure if this is even streaming. I really am not. So, yeah, if anybody's attempting and failing, it might be on our end. So I'm going to... Anyway, I'm going to do some more stuff here, because I think we can post this on YouTube later. I think that's how it works. Doing here is using this tiny little pen with black ink. Then, well, I'm just going to keep working on this and see if there's anybody. Well, I'm going to get tech support, I guess. Which means probably Alexis, saying, is this working or not? I said, we had internet problems earlier today. It might be continuing. I'm being quiet here as I attempt to do something, tiny. Well, maybe what I did when I tried to fix it is broke it. If I did, I apologize. I didn't intend to break it. I intended to fix it, but might have failed at the attempt to fix something that wasn't broken. Made it broken. That happens sometimes when one doesn't really know what one is doing. Okay. Not perfect, but it looks pretty good. You can see the ladder inside the escape hatch now. And that's what I was attempting to do, and more or less did it. Okay. I'm just going to say that these things are well enough along that I can do the paint touch-up on this and that. I'm going to turn these off so I don't waste the batteries and get the paint stirred up. I think, as I was saying earlier, this has been a day, and it's not been like some days. It's not like when I knocked a full mug of coffee over and all over the work surface just before the stream was supposed to start. It's not been like that, but it's just been a lot of little things, just one little thing after the other. That has been a day. So I hope your day is going okay. My day has been going not too bad so far. I mean, so far I got that to work. I didn't mess this up. That worked okay. I got the ladder in. I guess I have to say that today is going mostly okay. But there's just been some hiccups. Not really hiccups. If there had been hiccups, you would have been hearing them, right? And you don't hear hiccups, so it's not like that. Okay, well, there's some paint in the palette, and this right up the way. I'm going to do the touch-up first. This is where I took some of the paint off earlier. Paint came off because I was fixing these dials. Yeah, I'm going silent again because I'm doing tiny stuff. Doing tiny things and being quiet while I do them. Fortunately, it's kind of a location that's relatively easy to get to. Getting on too much other stuff. Just say this is looking not too bad. Paint, I didn't want it. No, that'll still be okay. Let this dry while I paint the pipe on the other one and then come back and do another coat. Looks a lot better without the magnifiers. That's almost always the case. Might need a couple coats as well. This is a nice color, but it doesn't cover very well. It just doesn't. And down here, I'm using the paint to fill in the gap. Best brush for this, but it's the brush I have out. I'm going to paint behind here. Weird, that's what happens when you look at things from a different angle with magnifiers. See stuff that didn't get painted. I just want to overcoat this because then it'll just be globby. I want brush marks all over it, so I'll let that dry. It's a little more paint without waiting too long. It'll look okay. Certainly looks better than it did before I started messing with it. Say it is adequate. Okay. This is now an adequately painted piece of machinery. Yeah, and I'll leave it alone. This may or may not need a little more paint, I'm not sure. Let it dry. Okay. So that, once that dries, this piece here gets cemented into that here. And then once that's done, and I might do that, sooner than later, then I can put the filler in on the bottom and then sand and polish it like I did the bottom of this. Getting to a kind of a weird time, just in terms of getting things done right now. That to dry a little bit before I do the cementing. I think it would probably be okay. The pipe on this might need a little bit more paint. I'm just going to do that. Let me get a brush, a bit bigger bristle, some paint on here, bigger bristle brush, and paint the pipe. And then call it good. Brush would be okay, but the bristles, there's more rogue bristles. Okay, that's just done. Just done. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the dark gray paint out. Get the big brush. And I am going to paint the bottom of this. And when that's done, I'll just be setting it like this, but it doesn't rest on anything that was recently painted. The pipe is not touching. And if I set it so that it tips over, that's the back of it. That's the back that goes into the hull. This is the front that shows. If I set it here like this, it should be okay. And then I'm also going to be painting a little bit on the bottom here with that dark gray paint, but I need to do something while that is finishing, and then I will, before break, cement that to this, and then during break that cement will set and I'll be able to do the filler. And then after break, I have no choice but to start painting all the intricate little byways on these decks. This will be dry. I'll be able to touch up the top where the paint got chipped somehow. Go gray. Dark gray. This is the old one, though. I don't want the old one. Okay. Well, you can see that I'm spending just a whole lot of time and not getting a whole lot done. I'm hoping this is streaming. I don't know if it is or not, because chat isn't working. It's not connecting. So for all I know, the internet is out. If it is, well, let's just say that no one is informing me. There we go. We got the metal ball clicking around in there. But progress is being made exceedingly slowly. Exceedingly slowly today, but nonetheless, it is happening. Supposed to go from the unpainted into the painted surface. That is supposed to minimize brush marks. Maybe not be the case. This paint is drying really fast. Wow. So that's dark gray now. I'm going to set it down, get paint on my fingers a little bit. There, like that. And I want to paint not very much, but just that. Okay. Just that. This, which I did. Get this up. Okay, there's a lot of paint in this brush now, so this will take a while to clean it, right? Oh, yeah, I went silent again. Good thing there's music. Hopefully you can hear it. Sorry. I was just thinking about what I should have been doing is saying what I was going to be doing next rather than just saying I'm thinking about what I'm going to be doing next. But what I was thinking about doing was getting this piece with the little dials that I did the touch-up and stuff on that now looks okay, that didn't look okay before, and get that cemented into this deck so that the cement can set, and then I can do the filling in so that I can fill it in and then sand it and then paint it like I just did the bottoms of that one. So that deck, other than needing to touch it up, need to touch up with this tan because there's some spots on it that just, I don't know what happened. It, like they flaked off or something got onto it. Whatever it wasn't good. Take this off the clip right to see if it fits. I'm sure it won't. That one does, but the back one, the back tab doesn't, so I'll need to do a little filing on that. This one probably should have been put in before the other one, because as I am now attempting to fit it, it goes underneath it. Anyways, huh? It goes underneath it, and to get in place. Fortunately, I'm going to be putting the cement in from the bottom. Okay, that's the intent, and hopefully it won't. I need to put less in than I did with the other one. It does work with capillary action. It pulls it in. pulls it in and then spreads it underneath. I need to get the tiny X-Acto knife here. Part of the issue here is that when the deck is painted, the paint gets into the slot like that, and then it partially fills it in. And that makes it smaller, and then the tab doesn't fit because the slot is now smaller than it should be for the tab. Really get some of this paint out of here. And if that happens, then this should fit. And if this fits, I can cement it. Like that. Oh, come on. Front one is too tight now. I think it's the same sort of thing. There's paint in the hole. It just needs to be it just needs to be reamed out a little bit. There. Now it should fit nicely without complaining. Yes. Okay. Now I need to put the cement in from the bottom like I did last time, but not as much. Anything over or spilling, and then hold it firmly in place for a little bit. Be extremely careful here. Did not want the disaster. So I'm holding it in place for like 2 minutes or something. And then I'm going to take a break early because I need to let this dry before I can do anything. And when I come back, I will be breaking out the cork brown paint and starting to paint the intricate byways there on those two decks. This one doesn't have any pipes, so I don't need to worry about that. It's the way it is. Cap this up. Find my glasses. Well, that's magnetic. Okay. All right, so the things to be done next are this is going to set for a bit, and then I'm going to put some filler in like I did at the bottom of this one. All right, this is going to be dry, and then I'm going to break out the cork brown, which is the color of the deck, and then start just putting paint on here. Unfortunately, the cork brown needs at least 2 coats, sometimes 3, and I don't know. We'll see how this goes. It's going to be, for me, it'll just be kind of, I might go silent again. I'm going to be using this teeny little brush and trying to get the lines along the bottoms of the pipes and the machinery looking okay, so that I can minimize the amount of touch-up I need to do coming back in the other direction with the beige paint that is the machinery. The only other thing that needs to be cemented in is this little piece here. This little piece goes here eventually. Okay, that's just cemented on top. They didn't mold this one because a pipe runs through it. There's one of our cats. Hi, Seth. Yeah, you came down just in time for a break. Yeah. Okay, I think that looks okay. That deck there. Oh, that's why this went off. Okay. So this has been like recording, but it's not streaming. Okay. You want me to keep going? Well, I'm going to take a break now. It turns out that we have no internet, so nobody's watching this on Twitch. But it is being recorded, which means that it can be put up on YouTube. Okay, which means that those of you who watch this on YouTube will be able to watch it. But those of you who are trying to watch it on Twitch can't watch it because the internet's not working. So I decided that I wanted to continue to make some... Good grief. I wanted to continue to make some progress on the submarine. Okay? Because I have an objective, a goal. I'd like to finish it during the first quarter of... Sorry, I'm just trying to put things away and it's just a mess here. I'd like to finish it during the first quarter of 2024, which means by the end of March, which will be a little bit difficult because I'm going to be unable to work on it for weeks at a time. I'm going to be dog sitting the week after next, and then back for a week or so, and then traveling, and then back, and then traveling, and you know, when you get old, sorry, something in my eye here. When you get old and retired, all of a sudden there's time, and that time sometimes ends up being used being somewhere else, which is what's happening. At any rate, I'll apologize in advance for not streaming during some times in the near future. But yeah, I'm going to get out the cork brown, which is the color of the deck, and I am, in fact, going to start painting this, and hopefully I'll be mainly staying on screen. I'm going to just hold the piece instead of putting it on a holder, because who knows what orientation I'm going to have to go to get the brush in between all of these spots that make nice clean lines between the floor and the equipment that's attached to the floor. Anyway, it needs to be done. I can't not do it and still finish this, so yeah, I'm going to dive into it and see how it goes. Because this isn't streaming, because the internet is down, if it goes poorly, I'll just say this, if it goes poorly, I might abandon the effort and do a couple of other little things just for the YouTube audience, and then hopefully come back on Friday and finish working on the Archer Sprite and begin working on the Shetland Pony Unicorn. And then there's some other things that just got printed. fresh off the rosin printer that need to be primed. And yeah, I might work on those too. I'm not sure what they are. I'll have to take them upstairs and ask later. I'm holding trash, okay, because the trash can is over there, and I just cleaned up a little bit, and so I am actually going to go over there and put this in the trash, and I'll be back in a second. Yeah, that was actually, I counted 7 seconds, not a second, so I lied to you again. Well, this isn't going to get done by itself. So I'm going to stir up the paint, make sure it's all nice and happy and ready to go. Move this out of the way. Get stuff on where the camera is sort of showing it to be. I got that. Yeah. Mix this up, take my glasses off, put the head magnifier on, and begin applying paint. The other thing I'm going to do with this brown paint, since I remembered, is that this deck piece that's upside down because I painted the bottom of it, that piece has some, I don't know, chips or something. Something is stuck to the floor. Something got on the floor somehow. Either the paint chipped or something got attached to it. Anyway, there's some spots that need touching up. Yeah, this is kind of, you know, it's annoying to not have the internet. The cable company also supplies our cable TV. So the entertainment is gone. We're being forced to read, believe it or not, read things on paper. Fortunately, I've got about 6 years worth of things to read, books and magazines and stuff, so that won't be a problem. And there's also household chores that don't require internet connection. Believe it or not, it's still possible, for example, to pick up a hammer and a nail and a hook and put something up on the wall without the internet. Yeah, you don't need the internet connection to do things like that. I know it's kind of surprising, but maybe later this afternoon I'll do something like that. Okay, let's see. I'm just having a whole lot of fun making this buzzing noise with the vortex mixer thing, making sure that the paint is mixed well. And I am putting these on because I just need to be able to see as well as I possibly can where the paint is going. And like I said, if this is going well, I'm just going to keep doing it until it stops going well. And if it isn't going well, I'm going to stop doing it right away. And eventually it will get done, but maybe not today. So let's start. Let me start here. This is going to take forever. Pretty much just putting like little drips of paint on. The line on the side went better than the line on the front. That's unfortunate. I mean, it's not unfortunate that it went well on the side. It's unfortunate that it didn't go that well on the front. Couple two. What I'm going to do is make the line even, because sometimes it's less important exactly where the line is than it is that the line, wherever it is straight. That line, the whole line went up a little too high, but it's straight, so it might be okay. Because of the angle of the brush. Out the head magnifiers, that might look okay. With them, it's not ideal. Around the edges, I might end up using a larger brush to fill in. I don't know. I mean, this little brush is working fine, the edges, but then it's like filling in around it. Whatever it is going to be multi-layered because paint just, I have to do this first and then the other later, so it might, depending on how well it levels itself, it might end up looking a little uneven. I'm not sure. Going across this way, it's aligned better. Yeah, so remember that. Come this way. Looks a little bit better. Looks like I'm doing the easy part first. I'm not doing the inside yet. I will look up and see if this is actually on camera. Yeah, it is. Look at that. It's actually kind of a surprise. And then I need to be sure to look at it this way, because that's how it's going to be viewed. Yeah, it came up on the pipe a little bit. I'll try to touch that up with the beige paint later. Going to not want to go back and forth too much though. Give this a go here. Painting between them. It's kind of a wiggly line. Came up too high. Came at it with the brush with the wrong angle there. There's little dots of touch-up that are going to definitely have to happen with the beige paint, just because the lines I don't like them looking ragged like that. right there. It just came up a little too high, right? Doing this, I'm realizing that one of the major threats to adequate painting right now at the moment is going to be getting the brush to and from the painting surface, or the to be painted surface. Quite easy, especially for me, to like bump it into like there. Tiny little dot. I don't know how that got there, but the brush got a little too close to the top of that pipe, and now there's a spot that needs to be touched up. Put a vest on. This happens 90% of the time, is that the I think it gets colder down here, okay, but after break I always feel colder. This time I put a vest on, which is good. I put it on in anticipation of feeling colder, which I do. Can't really see the. Yeah, I pulled the brush away, and I know I could just tell the way I pulled it that I'm not being careful. I'm not watching. That could have been a serious thing. Okay, I had the brush in the right place, but what happened was it bumped into, the back of the brush bumped into another surface. You can't really see that, but I'll probably try to touch it up anyway. Do the touching up. Be slower and more cautious, especially taking the brush away. Put the brush up. It seems to be when I am in most danger, banging it into something. Not the best brush for filling in spots like this, but they need to be filled in, so there. I wonder how this will end up leveling when it finally dries all the way, because it's definitely an uneven surface right now. But, you know, it's just the way it is. I'm not going to get it perfectly smooth because I can't use large brushes on this. Just can't. Either level off and look adequate or not. This here, I wasn't putting it off by avoiding it, it's just really careful coming in to the surface and back again here. Was careful until I wasn't. Right here on top of the plate, which will need to be touched up. Those classic. Oh, look, that went pretty well until I pulled the brush away. Yeah, that's kind of a classic thing. Like minor oops and relaxing painting with Dyson Dungeons. This back isn't going to show, but I'll try to be careful anyway. You see it from the side. Like that. Yeah, without my hand in the way is how it'll go. Thinking of looking up at the time, but because this isn't really streaming, okay, it's just going to be recorded and then put up on YouTube. It doesn't really much matter what time it is, does it? Because it'll be whatever time you're watching it. I guess I'll just keep going at this until I get something done, or until I can't do it reliably anymore. Get up a little bit high there. So that'll require some touch-up. So far, there isn't too much touching up being required. Oh, there, yeah. Down in the back there. Down in the back here, there's going to be some touching up. I really wish that beige paint, the bone white, it's a really nice color, would cover better. Because if it covered better, then touching up would be a lot simpler. Kind of wish this would cover better too. Uncertain how many extra coats, how many coats are going to be required to make this look okay, and what it'll take to get them on. There's definitely touching up required there, because that line line got out of control. And I will hope be able to get the beige bone white paint on there to do the touch up. Never even got painted on this side. To put multiple coats of little dots of paint on, I will put multiple coats of little dots of paint on in order to make it look adequate. He's just starting to come up just in time. Just in time. We need to be pulling out a larger brush. Zoom. Clean this off and get a slightly bigger brush. Take a look around again here. Yeah, I'll need another coat. Decide what kind of brush to use for that. Clean that off a bit later. This is the brush I'd like to use, but it's also the brush that refuses to have a coherent tip on it. Put all the other ones here. See if there's another one that might be usable. Can't even pick them up. Now let's try this. It's going to require multiple coats regardless, so just get as much on there as I can, as evenly as I can, and then move on. This paint is getting to be unusable. Oh, geez, yeah. This one with the flaw here. Not knowing what happened here. Like there was a chip in the floor. Of course, it's a machine room, so that might be okay. That was dust. Nice. Just stick my finger on that. Yep. hoping that this paint levels some as it dries. Right now, it's very lumpy. We might have a lumpy floor on these parts of the machine room. Just might be. But just really not much can be done about it given the intricacies of all of the pipes and machinery on the floor. The other one is smaller, but no less fidgety. There's a lot of round ones on it and some really narrow areas that'll be hard to get the brush into. I'd say this is coming out like a B- level right now, in that there aren't too many places that are going to require a lot of touching up. And there are places that will require touching up, and they're going to be kind of difficult to reach and, that kind of thing, but there aren't as many of them as there could have been. Stop brushing this and let it dry, and then deal with it when it's time for seconds and thirds coats, right? Okay, so that went well enough to say, okay, we'll go on to the next one. Why not? I'm going to start with the really difficult area here. Start with the worst, right? Yeah. Okay. No, not really. No. This, I'm working on this submarine, and it's original mid-1960s vintage. Whoa. Sometimes these head magnifiers will cause a little bit of rotational disorientation. It made me a little dizzy there once I moved my head. So yeah, these are parts from an original 1960s kit. And as I've mentioned over and over, when you're buying vintage kits, sometimes unless you buy them, it's like mint, still cellophane wrapped, in which case they're collector items. not items one would build. And I wanted to build this, so I bought kits that were cheap and usually already started and opened, so you never know if the parts are still there or not. So I bought 3 of them, which is good because I've used parts from all of them. The kit the kit I'm using most of, like 95% of the parts are from this one kit, was surprisingly complete. In fact, I ended up, there was only one missing part, and it was back here in the machine room. But there were parts that were broken or painted or cemented, or in many cases, just not adequately injection molded. They didn't put enough plastic into the mold. And so the parts were malformed. Sometimes the parts, the mold, the 2 halves of the molds obviously didn't line up. So there's like a thin layer of plastic that just formed like a wing around it. Anyway, I have used parts from all 3 kits so far. Yeah, I should have, oh man, okay. That was bad right near the end. I knew I should have rotated the part. Always come at it from the top down like this. And I didn't. And not only that, but I bumped into this while I was painting that. So right there where it's pretty obvious is a significant problem with the painting there. That's a mess that will need to be addressed in post, as they say. It needs some touching up. Some major touching up. Let's repeat that problem, that error here. I built one of these kits, not one of these kits because I'm building these now, but when I was like in 7th grade, I got a kit, not one of these kits, but a kit of this model. And I think I built it in like a week because I did hardly any painting on it. And certainly didn't do this kind of detail stuff. But most of it was just gray plastic, but it still was a cool looking kit. And I remembered it and liked it. That's why I bought this and decided this would be one of the models I would paint, that I would build after retirement. Which I didn't do. I didn't build these models. Didn't get around to building these models until Relaxing Painting with Dice and Dungeons came along. And until there was a day when there weren't any dungeon tiles or minifigs to paint, and so it was, well, why not keep the stream going? So pull out one of your old models. Well, I in fact pulled out 3 of my old models and then started this. And now I have no idea how long this has been going on. I haven't been paying attention to that. But I know it's been a long time. But the result isn't bad. I think it's kind of cool. It's coming out okay. I'm not a professional model builder or painter, so it's not, it's not professional model display quality, but it's, it's good enough to look really, really pretty nice. And once these floors are done and I assemble them into the hull of the submarine, you'll be able to see what the submarine looks like. But that's not going to happen on this episode. No, because this is just not, I'm not going to do that this episode. I'm not going to pull out the hull and show that off. Just more interested in getting this done. Okay, so I'll get the bigger brush out and fill in the rest of this. And then I don't think I want to put a second coat on this floor. I think I want it to, or the other floor either. I should at least show it to you, right? This is done. This came out okay. This is like what one of them looks like. Okay. And this one's almost done. If you look at the bottom, there's, these, I'm going to fill those in with plastic filler. But this it definitely needs a second coat. You can see that, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to let this dry and level off and all of that. And I might do the beige, they'll call it beige, but it's bone white. I might do that touch up before I do the second coat of the brown. Because I may end up having to touch it up in the other direction again. Be easier. Actually, this phase of it would be easier without the head magnifiers. And so I am going to take them off. Set them more or less back where they belong. I almost put them away. Tired old eyes. Really focus at any distance very well. It's like, well, I can't see close up. Well, I can't see far away. Oh, well. That's what happens. That's why those head magnifiers are really very helpful, because they at least let me see things close up. But they do also let me see, the little tiny sub-millimeter flaws in everything. Yay. Okay, well, this just needs to dry. And then next Wednesday, it will get its second coat. Let me pull this back now so you can see the parts. Yeah. As I talk about Dyson Dungeons a little later, I'm going to give these brushes a good cleaning in the alcohol bath. But yeah, I mean, the floors look pretty scabby. They're going to need a second coat. I think these floors that don't look so scabby had actually 3 coats on them. These brushes will need to be cleaned. I'm going to do this and then do a recap. So the bottoms of this deck, once it's inserted, you'll be looking at it from this direction, and you can get, if you look underneath it, you'll be able to see these places where the tabs went in. And I really don't like that, so even though it's kind of an OCD thing, nobody will probably even notice it. I'm going to fill those in with this plastic filler. It takes like a day to dry, to cure. And then I sand it down and so leave it upside down here. Like this one, see, I did that. And you can still see them. There's like little indentations on unevenness, but when it's in the submarine model, it's not going to show very much. Okay, I am going to now do a recap of the thing that I actually accomplished today. I did the ladder inside the escape hatch. Okay, so it gives the impression of being a ladder at least. I cemented the pipe in and painted it. Touched up the floor, sanded the bottom and painted the bottom of this. So this deck is now completed. And there might be a couple little spots like on the pipe there. There's a spot maybe that could use some touching up. Little microscopic dots of that bone white touch-up that I might do. Oh my. Okay, there's a little microscopic spot on the floor. Yeah, that kind of thing. So anyway, this is done. Both of those got cemented in, the pipe got attached, it's all touched, it's all painted, and maybe a little piece, maybe tiny bits of touch-up, maybe if I feel a need to do that. I got the base coat on the floor of these, and it went adequately. There's touching up that needs to be done. I figured there would be anyway, and then it needs a second or maybe third coat. You got the little bit of dark gray on that. And on this, I managed to salvage this piece, which was a disaster. I made a disaster of it last week with the dials, okay, and I'm trying to touch it up. So what I was able to do was, and it still needs a spot. There's still a spot there that requires the bone white, which I'll do at some other point in time, but not today. Yeah, I got some isopropyl alcohol and cleaned it off, and now it looks okay. Cemented both of those into place, filled it in on the bottom. So other than a little bit of tiny bits of touch-up, tiny spots of touch-up, like there are on a few other pieces, this deck, I think I'm going to do this. I might end up regretting this, I'm not sure. But when I cemented this into place, the paint kind of ran up on the base of this. Even line. That was not the best way to do it, but it was a way that worked. So this deck, other than finishing the bottom, is done. So these two decks are pretty much done. These need more coats, and then the pipes need to be put on. And believe it or not, once the decks are like second or third coated and the touch-upping up is done and the pipes are assembled and hopefully they'll fit, we'll find out. These are pipes. I'll be able to assemble these, and this is the very last set of compartments in the submarine. So the whole interior of the submarine at that point will be completed. I then need to do the tail, I need to do the nose cone, I need to do the edges, and I'll explain that when it comes time to do it. It's a cutaway model. The edges need to look like the hull color. And then there's going to be seams that need to be filled in, and the whole exterior of the hull will need to be spray painted so that it looks good. So I'm going to clean these brushes and I'm going to put this get these out of the way so I don't hurt them. Okay. Can't see submarine parts anymore, but you knew they were there. You saw them once before. Dyson Dungeons is not streaming today because the internet is down. So if you're seeing this at all, you're having to see it on YouTube because the internet was down. So there wasn't any Twitch stream, which is too bad because sometimes people like Submarine Wednesdays. And I made a fair amount of progress, not a lot, so that, people who would have been watching the Twitch stream would have seen little bits of stuff happen. It's moving along very slowly toward completion. That. But Dyson Dungeons is all about Dungeons and Dragons, and we put on a Dungeons and Dragons show, which streams with a live chat 3 Sundays a month, other than things like holiday and travel and stuff that comes up that can't be avoided. But it's well into its 100th episode now, so it's been a long-lived show. It's not a flash in the pan. I don't think we've had a pan. I mean, like, creature the pan. Maybe one of these things I painted as a pan. I'm not sure. It's always important to just, ramble off, say a word and get distracted and follow it until we do that on the show too. There's a lot of squirrel moments, which makes it pretty entertaining. Anyway, yes, Dyson Dungeons is about Dungeons and Dragons, and if you can at all possibly catch it with a live chat at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, generally about 3 Sundays a month. Check your social media to see the exact schedule. Or even you can watch and listen to, watch and listen to the previous episodes on YouTube or as a podcast. There are not very many moments of silence in our game, in our show, so the podcast works. I will invite those of you who catch it on Twitch to become a follower. Thanks to all of the people who have become a follower of Relaxing Painting with Dyson Dungeons, and especially those who have become a follower of Dyson Dungeons just in general. If you catch it on YouTube, you can become a subscriber. Please do that. And if you really like Dyson Dungeons, you can go to patreon.com/diceanddungeons and become a patron and get things like DM notes and improv warm-up sessions and other cool stuff. So this looks like it's ending early because, well, the internet is out. I got as much done on the submarine as I could really get done today without starting to get into, and I could start pulling out the parts for the next section. In case you're curious, this next section, this is what it looks like when it's done. All of this stuff that you see here goes inside the hull of the submarine, and I have completed it from here to here. Okay? Here to here, and these parts I've been working on today go in these last couple of compartments. 2 compartments, 2 decks on each one. And then after that, the tail goes on, the nose goes on, this stand gets constructed. This is the other hull, which is, in theory, supposed to hinge on the stand and cover it up to keep it from, you know, getting all dusty. It doesn't work. Didn't when I was a kid, doesn't now. But I will complete this hull and probably just leave it down. These are all the edges I talked about. See where it's cut away? All of these edges of all of these compartments. I can have a choice of either scraping the paint off and just leaving it the original plastic color, or painting it the dark gray, which is the hull color. And up here I started painting it the dark gray. That is harder than you would think. Harder to get that little edge painted without getting it onto the tops or the bottoms of the decks. I might just give up, pull out the X-Acto knife, and just scrape the paint off the edges. I might just do that, even though it's painted here fairly well. It's just, I don't know, it just doesn't work for me. So it may end up being the bare plastic, which I don't like because it's kind of shiny. But this tail is kind of a pain. The vertical and horizontal planes move, and when you cement it together, they'll either flop around or they'll be glued in. The propeller is supposed to turn. The propeller, that's a funny part. 3 kits, 3 broken propellers, all broken exactly the same way. I can tell why. It's because of the way it was attached to the sprues. The plastic attaching it to the sprue is actually thicker than the propeller blades themselves. Every single modeler in all 3 kits decided to break off the propeller. Why? I don't know. It's like one of the very last things you put onto the kit. So why break it off first? I don't know. And then everybody just broke one of the blades off. Somebody broke 2 of them. Fortunately, I've got the blade and I'll be able to repair it, but it's why? That's why the kit was cheap, right? Well, relatively cheap because, yeah, broken parts and stuff. One of these hinges is actually broken off. I should do that. I should pull this out. You know, I've got a little time. I should pull this out and cement it on. I could actually do that today. It has to be done anyway. And that would be a thing to do. That wouldn't be too dangerous, you know, in the sense of making a mess of something or whatever, screwing it up. If I get too much cement on it, it's not going to matter because it all needs to be sanded down anyway. And then this whole hull is going to be spray painted. These little planes go on either side. Yeah. And what I'm hoping to do then is, because all these seams are going to show, is fill those seams in, paint the whole thing without painting these things so that they don't turn anymore, mask this entire side of the submarine, and spray paint the hull on the other side. Yeah, so I'm probably going to build this whole thing. The masking tape will slip. I'm going to get spray paint all over the inside. Fortunately, I haven't been cementing any of these things into place. They've just been friction held. If worse comes to worse, I could take them out and redo them. But I'm going to repair that hinge. That's something that I can do, that I've been meaning to do for a long time. And yeah, I'm going to go get that part now. So you can see, you know, yeah, a mess. This is where the hinge goes. This is where the hinge was, and it just got broken off. Why? I don't know. It's a pretty hefty part that shouldn't have broken, but they were probably test fitting it. I'm guessing they were test fitting it, clamped it kind of together. It didn't work, and they just said, oh, I'm just going to force the issue. And you can see the flaws, you know, that needs to be sanded down. And as you sand it down, there's probably going to be divots left. It also looks pretty scabby, you know, the plain plastic. So that's why I'm going to spray paint the whole thing. But let me see. The hinge. These are all the special parts here that have fallen off. There's the diving planes. This is one of the side ones. These are the ones that have come off the screws. This is the thing that holds these together. These are really cool. These are missiles. One of these tubes is actually supposed to launch a missile. It's got a spring in it. It kind of works. It never really works very well. But I'm going to paint the missile and maybe mount the missile in a way that that's the shaft for the propeller. That's the propeller blade that's broken off. All safely kept in this little container, which is double bagged, you know, closed and closed. Trying not to lose this stuff. Yeah. Anyway, that's why there's still a lot of junk left to do with this, because, you know, broken parts, prep work, getting it oriented correctly. This goes in here like this. And it was really yanked out of there. I'm not sure what they did or why, but boy, oh boy, they really did a number on that. So it fits in there pretty tightly. And I'm going to put probably a little too much cement on that, because I want it to be welded in really well. And since I'm painting this whole thing both inside and out, this is just fine. Getting a little too much cement, because if it gets on the top and forms like a little bubble or something, I'll be able to sand that down and paint it. These hinges aren't going to work. You know, they're just not going to. But they're not going to work as hinges. They will hold this hull. But like I said, I'll probably just leave it open anyway, rather than trying to open it and close it. The model's just not fabricated. Its tolerances are... yeah. The tolerances are extreme, so the parts don't fit that well. It comes with this base that holds the model up. Actually, this whole thing cements to the other side of the hull that holds all of the innards. I'm going to just paint that, probably spray paint it black maybe, just so that there's some contrast with the hull of the submarine. I'm not going to paint it the same color as the hull. Okay, so this part seems to be fitting in there. Probably, you know, they always say hold it tightly for like 24 hours or something, but I'm not going to sit here and hold this piece in place for 24 hours. Just going to say that it is in there quite tightly. There's a lot of cement on it, and it's either going to hold or it's not. All right. Wow. Look at that. I don't know what happened there. Look at the inside of the hull. It looks like that was either a flaw from the mold, or somebody dropped like a whole dollop. Now, it doesn't look like it's from cement. I mean, someone might have dropped some cement on there and it bubbled up. But that can be sanded down. It'll be sanded and polished, and after this is spray painted, it will really show. Anyway, yeah, there. That hinge is now put in place. And when I do the prep on the hull, you know, sand these down, maybe do a little filler if necessary, where these attach to the screws, and they just broke it off. Get rid of some little bubbles and things that shouldn't be there. pieces of plastic that need to be sanded off, and mutter because it's not well formed. I have to say that this piece went in better than I expected it would. And I need to stop playing with it. So catch the Dungeons and Dragons campaign on Sundays with a live chat at 2 Eastern Standard Time on Twitch. Catch it on YouTube. Listen to it on a podcast. Go back and listen to all 100 episodes. That would be terrific. If you did that, you get to know our characters better and some of our inside jokes. We try not to have too many inside jokes, but how can you help it, right? And on Friday, I will be back working on this little Archer Sprite thing, finishing up the detail of the bow, the arrow point that was fabricated from a toothpick because I broke it, and then doing something with the wings. I'm going to test the neon violet and the white pearlescent paint, see which works, and then paint the base. And I don't think I'm going to do any washing on it. I was going to put a little bit of brown wash on the hair, maybe, see if I could bring out some of the texture of the strands of the hair. And maybe I'll do that. I'd like to paint the eyes. I don't know, blue eyes, green eyes. I'm not really sure. I think I might, maybe I'll just take that little fine pointed pen and just put little dots for the eyes. Or maybe I'll put some, like, blue paint on. I'm not sure what color did I do this one. I didn't paint this one's eyes. Oh well. So yeah, trying not to knock it over again and bust it again. So I'll set it aside here. And I would say I would end the stream now, but it's not streaming because the internet is down. But I will say thank you for watching this on YouTube. Made some more progress, getting close to finishing the last couple of compartments of the inside of the submarine. And then I'll be starting to work on the exterior parts and hopefully be able to do that without creating a disaster. That's yet to be seen, isn't it? So thank you all. This is Dice and Dungeons saying, have a good day.